You live an entire life before age 3. You were born. You opened your eyes. You heard your mother's voice. You took your first steps, said your first word, and you remember none of it. Most people assume your brain just wasn't ready yet, but that's not quite right. The real answer is far stranger. Your baby brain wasn't failing to record your life. It was recording everything, but something destroyed those recordings. In 1905, Sigmund Freud was the first to name this. He called it infantile amnesia. But here's the thing. Babies absolutely can form memories. We know this for a fact because of one elegant experiment. In the 1980s, psychologist Carolyn Rovee-Collier tied a ribbon from a baby's ankle to a mobile. Babies quickly learned. Kicking makes the mobile move. Days later, same babies, same mobile. They remembered immediately. 6-month-olds remembered for weeks. So infant brains can learn, can store, can recall. But by adulthood, every trace is gone. For decades, scientists couldn't explain why. The first part of the answer is structural. Deep inside your brain sits a small curved structure called the hippocampus. It is the engine of memory formation. It takes a lived experience and encodes it as an episode you can later replay. But in infants, this system is severely underdeveloped. The connections between the hippocampus and the cortex are still being built. A key gateway called the dentate gyrus isn't fully wired until age 2 to 4. So your infant brain could form short-term memories, just couldn't move them into long-term storage. But that's only half the story. What comes next is even stranger. In 2014, 2 neuroscientists in Toronto made a discovery. They asked, what if the very process that builds your brain also destroys your memories? In the first years of life, your hippocampus produces new neurons at an extraordinary rate. This is called neurogenesis. It is essential. Those new neurons wire up the circuits you will use for life. But every new neuron disrupts the connections that were already there, the connections that were holding your memories. To test this, they experimented on mice. When they increased neurogenesis in adult mice, those mice forgot things they had learned. When they slowed neurogenesis in infant mice, those babies held on to memories longer, published in the journal Science. The conclusion was counterintuitive. Your baby brain wasn't too weak to hold memories. It was too busy growing. The same explosion of new neurons that built your brain overwrote the memories inside it. Your brain kept building new rooms and tearing down the old walls in the process. But there is another layer, and it might be the strangest part of all. To form autobiographical memory, you need something most people take for granted. You need a sense of self. You need to understand you exist as a person separate from the world around you, that things are happening to you. But before 18 to 24 months, infants don't recognize themselves as distinct individuals. There is a classic test for this. Put a dot of rouge on a baby's nose. Place them in front of a mirror. Before 18 months, babies treat the reflection like another child. After 18 months, they reach for the dot on their own face. That moment of self-recognition closely tracks with when autobiographical memories begin. You can't remember being a baby partly because there was no you yet. There was no narrator inside your head packaging experiences into a story called You, which raises an uncomfortable question. Is the baby in your old photos actually you? Or someone else who lived in the same body but whose mind was completely different? A mind that was literally disassembled and rebuilt, neuron by neuron, into the person you became. There is one more piece. Language. Developmental psychologist Catherine Nelson spent years studying how children form lasting memories. Her conclusion, language doesn't just describe our memories, it structures them. Before you could speak, experiences were encoded as raw sensory impressions, sounds, textures, emotions, light, but no framework to attach to. Once children began speaking, ability to form lasting memories improved dramatically. Language gives memory a skeleton. Without it, experiences are like water with no container. They exist in the moment, then they're gone. And this isn't just theory. Culture proves it. Psychologist Wang at Cornell found, your earliest memory varies depending on your culture. In Western cultures, parents frequently narrate their children's experiences, build personal stories. Earliest memories, they start around age 3.5. Among the Maori of New Zealand, extraordinary emphasis on personal history and storytelling. Their earliest memories reach back to age 2.5. In some East Asian cultures, less focus on the individual in early childhood narratives. Earliest memories start closer to age 4 or later. The culture you grow up in literally shapes how far back your memory reaches. So here's what actually happened to your earliest years. Your hippocampus wasn't ready to build long-term memories. And even when it started to, the flood of new neurons tore through the circuits holding them. You had no concept of self to anchor experiences to. And you had no language to give those experiences a structure that could survive. It wasn't one thing. It was everything. All at once. Every human who has ever lived went through this. Every person you have ever met has a black hole where their first years should be. The answer isn't that your brain was too simple. It's that your brain was doing something far more important than remembering. It was becoming you, and that required literally destroying the person who came before. If this made you think about who you were before you became you, that is exactly what GULD is here for.